Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Freeze with the weekly live stream. And man, we got a lot to talk about today, man. Um, couple of things that we hadn't talked about yet. So we talked about Mindwipe and Cosmos. Mindwipe and Cosmos did get a little bit of a bump today, so we'll talk about that. And we still hadn't talked about the fact that it's going to have two G1s. We talked about it, but we touched on it. The second G1 came out after the live stream, so we're going to take a look at that. Look at it in gameplay. It's done some rework since the last stream, so we'll talk about it. And we also want to talk about HQ18 Phase 3 is coming out tomorrow. And I honestly, I can always tell when the newsletter drops because I start getting all these pings from Discord and Line app, and I was just like, man, like what's going on? And then I say, oh, the newsletter just dropped, so people started having questions. So hopefully I can answer some of those today. If you've got questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We got some new combats coming out as well, so I'm gonna try to touch on that a little bit. They're still in work. I just did my survey for them yesterday, but yeah, and forgive me if I'm getting these wrong because there's some of the microns, but it's Jays and Barrow, I believe is what they how it's pronounced. If I'm wrong, please by all means correct me in the chat. And then there's a possibility of some new war effects on the horizon. So probably won't tell everything about that, but I'll tell you the direction that we're going in and what we've been looking at in playtest in regards to potential new war effects. So by all means, let me know in the chat what you want to hear about first. But we got a lot to cover, so we need to go ahead and get into it. So, as always, let's start with this week's newsletter. And I'm actually scrolled down a little bit too far, so let's scroll back to the top real quick. So we can look at this week's event, which is called The Summoning, and it is week 2 of the saga. And so this is going to be the individual endurance event. And they're reworking. You got legacy batch bots. They've been doing a lot of reworks for those legacy batch, and so obviously this week is going to be a week where you can get Cosmos if you're an Autobot, Mindwipe if you're a Decepticon, through this event. Individual endurance. So if you get 70k, you'll get the bot. If you get 36.5k, you'll get the 4-star version of the bot. So 70k for the 5-star. 100 tiers, plenty of prizes to go around. I'm not really in a huge need of anything right now, but dude, I got total sparks and total shard. Well, total sparks I got that I haven't opened. Total shards I always open. So I'll probably participate in this. I don't know how it's gonna go yet. I hadn't decided. I ain't got nothing going on this weekend, so I'll probably, kick back, relax, and smash some robots. I hadn't really played any events really hard in almost 9 weeks, so this will be a good one for me to get some bots leveled and get ready for phase 3. Typical battle zones. As far as game updates and information, I had some people tag me earlier today on my Discord server, which, by the way, if you hadn't joined, the link for it is in the description of this video. Join our Discord. We had lots of cool conversations in there. But I had somebody tell me make sure that I highlight the fact that we're having Combiner Gate bundles. So if you guys didn't know, 2 years ago for Thanksgiving, there was like a Dino Gate bundle, and it went completely out of control where you could just keep just buying Dino Gate bundles. Um, but you get quite a bit, man. You get a lot of dupes, and I wound up getting two 5 stars, I think, that time off of it because I bought like $40 worth of bundles. But anyway, it's a real cheap bundle that you get, and so this time they're doing Devastator and Superion. So you get potentially 400 aerial bot crystals for Autobot players or 400 Constructicon crystals for Decepticon players. They say that you can buy those once, but technically you can buy them twice because you can buy them once in the web store and you can buy them once in game. So realistically, you could end up with 800 of these guys. So yeah, man, definitely do that. Daddy Pig remind me today. Apparently, there is like there's like a code you can use. So for me to promote it, so I need to set that up. If I do set that up, I'll let you know. I'll go shoot something in Discord. I'll shoot something out in Line App, and I'll shoot something out in the community tab on YouTube. When I get that set up, I've been procrastinating on that. I need to do that because I can get paid off of that. You know what I'm saying? HQ 18 Phase 3. So this is the stuff you get, and we talked about it a lot for the last couple of weeks. So as far as building upgrades, going up a level, Ore 13 Harvester, I'm looking forward to, as well as Ore 13 Storage. The Combiner Beacon is getting a little bit of a bump, as well as MDS. And then I tell you off rip, that damage is crazy, that health is crazy. There were some concerns for some of the play testers regarding the MDS getting the upgrade. I think it's appropriate. I actually wanted to see another MDS, but we actually opted to do the fifth outpost bot instead, which I wasn't overly thrilled about, but we'll talk about that because it grew on me and I started to like it. You're upgrading your spider mine, so in addition to your additional buildings, where you're going to get one new beam laser. The last time we talked about it, it was going to be another laser turret. Playtester said, "Yo, that's terrible. Laser turret is terrible," and so let's do a beam laser instead. Space Ape responded with a new beam laser, and they also responded with two additional mines, which is an idea they had. I want to say it was about a year and a half to 2 years ago, when stack strategy was really heavy in Top Wars. Um, but there's going to be a lot of different purposes you can use that for. I talked about it some last week. And then I also talked a little bit about the fifth outpost bot. And we'll talk about it a little bit more today. You're going to get they say building cores, prime cores. You're going to get 3 new prime cores. So it's going to be your Nexus prime core, which we'll talk about later on, your Solus prime core, and your Onyx prime core, which means there should be only one prime core left. And fingers crossed that we can make that really, really great during HQ18 Phase 4. But these ones are coming up Phase 3. We've also got a series of elemental building cores, so all these are going to be buildbot cores. We already talked about waterproof dome. There's also going to be a fireproof dome and antidote dome, which is going to be used for acid. And we'll talk about that today as well. I just got these. I had to ask Dale for these earlier today because, um, to keep it a band with you, we didn't test fireproof dome or antidote dome. Now, during phase 2, I think it was, they did have, and this is how long ago it's been. It's before the acid meta kicked off. They had a fireproof dome that did it protected against fire and acid. Obviously, they separated fire and acid, so you have to use both. And I have my thoughts about that. We'll share those in a minute. Rework building cores. We talked about how anti-air. I mean, they did do some reworking for it, but the biggest thing is that anti-air didn't allow you to. It just sat there when you were on the ground. So they changed that. Now it's going to have a little bit less damage, but anti-air is going to now be able to affect ground targets. Great change for those. And I don't have these on my test server, but new battle boosts. And if you guys know me, you know I've been advocating for new battle boosts for a long time, just because I feel like they're undervalued. Um, and if you guys don't remember, if you were around, like, I think it was like 2 years ago when Waza and I worked together for the first time and we were doing the whole series about unpopular opinions, one of my opinions is that battle boosts were undervalued. And so they're starting to do MK4s. Well overdue. Very excited about that. I wish I had them to test, but I will wait for those to come to the live server because I like to use my battle boosts just for different stuff, primarily for working against the combiners. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You got your chart for the Cyber Pass. You know, obviously I used this same artwork for my thumbnail today, but the Cosmos and Mindwipe. And one key thing that we're talking about this go around is that Cosmos and Mindwipe are going to be for sale this go around. So you can buy them for $50. And I'll tell you this, Dale asked me when I go do an individual endurance event, he said, how much do I typically spend? And I told him, well, it depends on what my goals are for the rest of my team. I either spend between like $40 or $60 because, and it depends. Like, if I'm just trying to get the points, I'll use different teams to try to go get my points, and then I'll power level in between the cooldowns. But if I'm just trying to power level a specific bot, it probably runs me closer to $60. So he says, yeah, that's cool. That's about what I was thinking. Somewhere in the middle there, $50. He says that seems fair. He took it to the team. The team said, yeah, nah, seems appropriate. So you can buy Mindwipe or Cosmos in the cyber store. Now this isn't in game. You have to go to the link that they have for the cyber store, and you can purchase the 5-star version of the bot for $50. And you won't get any of the other stuff from the event, but it leads you to a couple of different things. It leads you to, if you buy the bot at the beginning of the event, now you can level the bot during the event. It leads you to, and y'all probably can hear Deceptilab going off back there. But it leads you to a couple of different things because on top of just being able to go use the bot during the event, it gives you the flexibility to just not do the event at all. Or, you know, a lot of people don't do individual events very well. You know, that additional competition and the additional pressure and not letting your teammates down from team events. So now you got some options here, depending on how you want to go about it, and if you like Cosmos and Mindwipe or not. So they got some pictures in here of the tooltips and everything. We're gonna go over all of that, so no reason to really rehash that. But the ability, dude, honestly, it's some simple changes that we made, but Dale did a really good job. As you know, the endurance events are Dale's special little project on the side, and you know, I had to tell him. You know, I talked to him pretty much every day for the last week or so. Did an amazing job with this one. So you know, I told him that even as a top player, even as a top 5 alliance player, um, I told him straight up. I said I'm not 100% sold on Mind Wipe. However, I am willing to add them to the rotation of defensive bots, depending on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish defensively. And he was pretty happy about that. So, um, especially with the fifth outpost bot. You know, with that fifth outpost, and I said, you know, who knows what I'm gonna do? I might stick him up there in the back somewhere. You know, who knows? So, shout out to Dale for making that happen. some comparisons of the 5-star versus the 4-star. You're talking about the G1s. We're going to talk about those today because we haven't talked about that on this channel yet. And we're going to talk about the other content creators. Make sure you check out all of the official ones: Engineer Hoist, myself, Soldier, and of course, you can never forget Sunstreak Awaza. So make sure you check those guys out, as well as the unofficial content creators, who many of them are with us in the chat today. I'll shout them out as we go through our shout outs. Saga schedule, we still got a whole bunch of events to be determined. Space Ape apologizes for that. But what we do know is that we get the 5-star legacy batch endurance event this week, the individual endurance. We also got another individual 50K event for the combats in 2 weeks. And then we're going to have the anniversary event to start off the second half, season 29 of the saga. And I'm looking forward to that. I always look forward to, you're getting free, basically free stuff. So a lot of to be determineds up there. There's going to be an individual leaderboard the week after that. So that's kind of crazy. We'll see how that goes. And then who knows what's happening after that. You know, what would you like to see for the rest of the saga? Not a lot of information out right now, but we'll see how it goes. Community corner, got some pretty nice artwork there. See, Oki got some good artwork, as well as Skelegold. No bug fixes this week, and yeah, man, I'll be honest with you. I ain't mad at Space A for not having no bug fixes this week, because they have been working their ass off on everything else in the game, and that is the news for this week. So let's flip over to the chat. Let's see who we got in here today. So it looks like, and it actually cut off on me. I can't see the top of it, but I believe that Tony B was the first one in there. I actually logged in really early today, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. I thought I was going to be behind because I had a long day at work today. But yeah, I got in there early at like 4:50 or something like that to set up the chat, and Tony B responded. So thanks for joining, Tony B. Followed by the homie E Rods, who joined us today. Wishing everybody a happy Wednesday. I appreciate that. Thanks, E Rods, and thanks for joining. Let's see. Candyman joined us as well, one of my good friends and members, Alliance family mates. And he says Thursday for him. So I guess I did not notice that you were over on the other side. So you're Australian. I think that's saying, yeah, for the AU. So thanks for joining, Candyman. Lou Mega joined us. Excited about HQ 18.3. Yeah, me too, bud. One of my good friends, fellow content creators and moderators, um, Mercenary Terror, joined us and says he wants to remind you guys to like and subscribe to the channel. Lots of chill streams, and you know, he always likes to highlight that Art of War series, which actually I hadn't started recording yet, but I have at least two more things I want to add to the Art of War series. I just got the ideas this week, so hopefully I have some time to work on that this weekend, in addition to some other content that I owe you guys. So look out for that soon. My good friend, moderator, and fellow content creator, Big Blade 297. Um, Thanks for joining, buddy. Check out his video, Big Blade. And all of you guys that are unofficial content creators, make sure you add links to your channels in the comments. I'm not one of those content creators that's trying to get angry about guys promoting themselves. Like, don't spam, but you guys go ahead and make sure that you put your links in there into the comment section so people can follow you guys too, because Big Blade had a really nice video, a really short video, about 2-3 minutes. But yeah, man, make sure you go check these guys out as well. Let's see who else we got. We got Big Joe is with us again. And if you guys didn't know, he was sending congrats to um, I was gonna call him Mini Freeze. That's not Mini Freeze. That's my other son. Um, but Kazi, my Discord admin for you guys that ever been on my Discord page, he set up on my Discord. He's graduating high school in about 3 weeks. So Big Joe saying congratulations to him. Rest of you guys, make sure you say congratulations to him either on the stream or on Discord. He just had prom last week, man. And he was looking clean in the prom pictures too, bro. We got Trax with us again. Made it on time. Thanks for joining, Trax. I already gave a shout out to Daddy Pig, but thanks for joining again, buddy. Kristen Jones is in here. Thanks for joining again with us, Kristen. Alpha Trion One with us as always. Thanks for joining. The playtest homie and good friend, Jacada, and member has joined us. Thanks for joining, Jacada. McLovin, another one of our regulars, and homie and member. Thanks for joining. Esclo Hasi, another good friend and member. Thanks for joining. The super homie and moderator, Fox the Bomb, is with us again. Says it never gets old. I saw his comment when I first posted on there, and I was like, "Welcome to the Deceptilab," and he's like, "Never gets old." So thanks for joining. Uh, and I'm looking at tracks, and he says everything's still way too overpriced. I do like the cost. There's a lot of stuff that's overpriced in the game. I will agree with that. I do like the cost of the price point of this bot. If you don't want to do the event, I'm one of them guys that can't be bothered. A lot of times I'm out here. I love to cook, so I'm out here grilling out and stuff on the weekends and everything like that. So uh, I might buy the bot. I might do the event for the bot. I might not go do anything at all. I don't know, but I do like the price point on this. Hey yo, Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig says the Combiner Gate is more exciting than the event. I mean, you make a compelling point. I do like the event though, man. I'm gonna keep it a band with you because I say I hadn't done one in a while, but I do respect your opinion, and I say, you know what, I do understand. So yeah, Big Joe says he's never used number a 5-star Mindwipe. Speaking of official content creators, soldiers in the chat, thanks for joining Soul, one of my members and good friends. One of the guys, bro, like to keep it a band with you, if it's some of you younger content creators is just trying to get your name out there, man, this man right here teach you a lot. So man, shout out to Soul for that. He helped me out a lot when I was getting started. Thanks for joining, buddy. Let's see. We got Swoop is with us again. Thanks for joining, Swoop. Volcanicus number one is with us again. Thanks for joining, Volcanicus. Hero 124XX. Thanks for joining, buddy. And I think I got everybody. If I didn't, give me a shout in the chat, and I will certainly shout you out. So, I didn't see a whole lot of talk about who we want to talk about. I'm going to switch to the big screen now, get out of the screen for the chat, and let's talk about. Oh, Jettison C4 made it. Another good friend and content creator. Thanks for joining. Uh, so we got a couple of things to talk about. And ooh, hold on, I gotta move some stuff around on my computer screen here. So let's start off by talking about Cosmos and Mindwipe and that G1. So I don't want to go beat the dead horse. We've been talking about it a lot. Mindwipe has got 2 cores. So I want to talk about the changes they made to his damage. Um, Long story short, Dale took his project to the team. Giannis says he needs more damage. They added more damage now. You got 25 up to 25 discs that can appear. They'll do 320 damage each, and that's pretty good. So, um, huge damage boost there. This will be my first time actually taking a look at it. Uh, and then these bounce to one additional target, so you're gonna have the hack, you're gonna have the additional damage. Uh, these targets hit by these discs are, like I said, they're gonna be hacked, and the enemies when they're hacked, they're gonna do 100% damage instead of, I want to say it was like 40% or something like that before, right? Um, so we got two cores. The G1 Mind Wipe attack. It's going to make you invisible. And a lot of people said the same thing I was doing. I was talking to one of my good friends in my alliance earlier today, and he was saying that this seems like something that would have been on a defense core. When we go to the defense core and you can actually see it in action, it doesn't look like it's very good on paper, but I actually enjoyed the defense core. But it's going to make them invisible. Maxed out G metal for 9.8 seconds. You gain life steal, which is something that I fought for personally. I wanted life steal very, very badly, and we got it. So plus 5% life steal every 10 seconds. I would have wanted to do more, but it stacks. So you can continue to get more life steal the longer the duration is, which is going to be actually good for the attack side. So let's take a look at him in action, see what he can do with the final version. These are supposedly the final versions of the G1 and of Mindwipe and Cosmos. So looking forward to seeing what they can do. And I think I took him out of here. So let's do this. I don't want to do that there. Let's put him in this team right here and take a final look at him before he comes out in the event. We'll go into the prime zone and let's see what he's capable of. Another playtest homie, King Grimlock, joined the chat. Thank you for joining, King Grimlock, as well as the homie Randall Hamilton. Thank you both for joining the stream. So the biggest thing for me is I love that they added. They couldn't. I think if they do with hacking, if you do AOE, I think it's gonna be too much. But that additional target, I really like a lot. I got him obviously here with the attack G1. Now I wasn't overly concerned about him not doing a lot of damage. Apparently it was a Giannis that wanted to do more damage, and that's what they did. And like I said, it's my first time looking at it, but honestly, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I mean, it's not something that is going to break the meta like top leagues or anything like that. But it is it is better than it was, and I like it, and I wouldn't mind having the 5-star. I'm not a collector or anything where I just go get stuff just to go have it, but I can see some value in them in the long term. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but that's what he looks like with his. And that look at that life steal, man. I mean, granted he's floating right now, but man, that life steal is pretty clutch. I like that a lot. And I'm actually going to try it one time. Oh, okay, it won't use it on the combat there. But yeah, it's a lot better than what he was. And a lot of the biggest concern was that he was single target. So yeah. King Grimlock said this dude turned out better than what we asked for first time for everything. Yeah, I mean, and it's tough, right? Especially with Legacy Batch, because with Legacy Batch, it's not necessarily a priority. It's starting to become one because we're expecting to have one every quarter and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I do agree with you. It did come out better than what we asked for. It was tough there for a little bit, just because with a bot like that, it's kind of hard to get creative with. So, but anyway, so we looked at the offensive side, we're going to look at the defensive side. So here you've got his defense, cool. And so it's off rip is going to give you 15% health. That's good. Uh, if you use it on defense, you're going to get another plus 6% health on that. And then based off your max health, every 7 seconds full. So you're gonna go get more max health every 7 seconds for the rest of the battle. So you get up to 12 stacks. So you could get as much as 72% health. So I'm gonna go put that on him. And then I'm going to also, let's do this. Let's give him a combat bot. Let's give him a combat bot that heals as well. So we will, for the sake of just, I ain't gonna give him the 4-star Singe. I mean the 5-star Singe. I'll give him the 4-star Singe. And then let's see what he can do. I think I've already got him loaded in the outpost. So let's see what he looks like on defense. Now, one of the concerns we had in playtest was, well, I'll take that back. One of the main concerns Dale had, was he wanted to make sure that not necessarily a counter. He wanted to make sure that there was a way that you would be able to attack him. And one of the things we were really concerned about was the stealth mode. And let me actually look at it again and review that G1 one more time. Ultimately, because we had it where he was just going to be sitting up there in stealth, I was like, hey, you can use this. You can use. Well, they wound up making that the offensive ability. But the stealth mode, most people wanted to see as a defensive ability. We wound up not doing that. But it would have been cool. And I was thinking about using the offensive ability on defense. But one of the concerns there was, could he be targeted? And I said, yeah, he can be targeted with AoE. So we're good, right? And, you know, we kind of came to a conclusion. But let me know in the chat, do you actually like, for a lot of these legacy bots, just having one G1 or two G1s? I told Space 8 that what I would like to see is I would like to see 2 slots per bot. And I would, in those 2 spots, I would like to see one spot that is for strictly for offense, one is strictly for defense. And they said it's not off the table. They said it can be done. We're just not ready to do that yet. So let me know what you think about that idea too. If we had a spot for a core on offense and a spot for a core on defense for every single bot in the game, what would you think about that? I don't hate the idea, and here's the reason why I don't hate the idea of 2G1s. Because what I've noticed over time is that there's almost like this kind of fear that we have as you know it, Space Ape kind of has this fear that you throw too much into one power core and then it maybe overpower. That's not their words, that's just my observation. But I say to that, yeah, you kind of got a point. So I just wanted to I just started to embrace having 2 cores, but I also want to have 2 slots per bot so that you can use them for different things. So we'll see how it goes. Let's go see what the chat has to say about this. Um, let's see. I see Mario Zambiano joined us again. Thanks for joining, buddy. And let's see. And it says good job to the playtesters. You get a couple of them in the chat, so good job, guys. I said Mercenary Terror and myself want to see Kill Bison get a G1. And hopefully he gets into a legacy batch, and then that'll probably be where his G1 comes, so that way your ideas can be heard. Big Blade says, so is Bro gonna continuously false heal himself on defense? Yeah. Yo, Alpha Trion 1 killing me. He said life still worked on drift. Let's give it to everyone. It's the new shield. But you know what? So here's the thing. On in this particular case, life steal was needed in my opinion because life steal for for this dude, well, first off, for Mindwipe for the concept, you know, he's kind of got that background. You looking at him in his bat form, so you're starting to get kind of vampire vibes and stuff like that. So the life steal thing seemed appropriate for him. The problem is that a lot of people using him in the outpost, and he just didn't have that much health. I said, man, look, let him get life steal, but they wind up doing that on attack, and now it's just like, yeah, that's kind of weird, but um, I embrace it. It's one of the things that I think he should have. I think it's great, to be honest with you. Let's see, we got a couple ideas, like folks that like the idea of having multiple spots for offense and defense, multiple cores. And the thing is like, and Dale said this when he came up with a second core, he wants to a lot of these cores to be suitable for different play styles. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Can Space 8 make more money off of having multiple cores? Absolutely, they can. But if those cores are good, um, we were making cores, in my opinion, that weren't good enough because we were scared they were going to be overpowered, or Space 8 was scared they were going to be overpowered. So I say, hey, make two different cores, and you can use it for what it is that you want to use it for. Candyman says remove the 1 million energon cost for core removal. Yeah, that would be nice. That's another option instead of doing what I was saying to do. I don't think they're gonna do that, but I would like to see more of them. And the thing is, because if you have it's double folded, or it's double sided. Like if you have an offense and a defensive core, dude, honestly, Space Ape can make money off of that because people are going to look for cores for both for all of their bots. So at a minimum, if you just have same 8 war bots, that's 16 cores by itself. And Jacada, I know, supported me on the idea in playtest. He's supporting me on it again in chat. Yeah, King Grimlock also, same thing. We all in playtest together. So yeah. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. It's the final version for your Cosmos and Mindwipe. So let's do a quick run through HQ18 again. And so some of the stuff we are looking at. So we were already talking about some of the building upgrades. I'm gonna run through these real quick because we talked about them before. But I forgot I changed my base around. But so ore harvester, that's what you're looking at for your stats. Um, Now, one of the conversations that always comes up when you're talking about HQ upgrades and everything, or phase upgrades, is what should you use if you get skips. A lot of people saying they get about approximately 6 skips. I got 8. Um, I can tell you this. I'm gonna use some skips on my ore because I don't want to stop my ore. Now, it depends on where you're at with the game. For me, if you got large stacks of ore 13 on the side or large stacks of Shanix and you can afford the upgrade time, then by all means, don't skip this one. For me, I'm gonna skip the storage and the harvester. And the other thing I'm gonna skip is I'm gonna skip the combiner beacon because I know that I'm not going to have a combiner after the timer runs out on the current charge if I don't. So I'm definitely going to go do those. Now, a lot of people are going to go for the MDS, and I get it. But one of the things that I look at in wars is that they'll just go back to the current version, and most people are going to be upgrading stuff anyway. So, there is a high damage and high health aspect to this here. I'm probably not gonna use a skip on that because I don't know what's coming in phase four. I don't know what's coming when there's supposed to be a new defense in phase four. I want to make sure I have everything I need for this, so I'm undecided on whether or not I'm gonna upgrade MDS immediately. I'll probably do one at a time or something like that. I might do both at a time and just suffer through that for the little bit of time that I need to suffer through it for. Uh, in regards to getting attacked, but you get to a certain level, you don't get attacked that much anyway, so it's kind of whatever. Let's see. Now I tell you what. Oops. I tell you what I didn't get to see, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. But what we wind up getting is we wind up getting. So like I said, two mines, a fifth outpost bot. So I'm gonna talk about the fifth outpost bot real quick. One thing I really like about the fifth outpost bot or the fifth outpost is, so a lot of times you see something even in a setting like I got right here where you'll see something outpost up front, on the left and the right. Then you'll see something like closer to the top, you'll see a left and a right. But now what it's going to allow you to do is it's going to give you some flexibility to put something in the middle of that base. And so like here you can see I got Terramanda up there because as these bots come in and they start to get targeted by the defenses, um, their ability to attack back is going to be reduced. And then here you can do the combiner beacon. So now you have something you can use up the middle, that fifth outpost and that combiner beacon to try to protect the middle of your base a little bit. And I like that a lot. And wasn't, I was against a fifth outpost before I was for it. But this is what sold me on it, is being able to protect that middle. So I like that a lot. I also want to look at, we got some new prime cores. Now Alpha Trion, we wind up leaving off and trying that for again. If you guys remember, I was telling you that Alpha Trion was going to work on range a little bit, which I would have enjoyed, but uh, we shot that down before we even tested it as a playtest community. Um, wasn't happy about it, but you know what? I get it. And so what we got now is we got Nexus Prime Core, and people started asking me questions about that. So that tooltip is wrong. So it's actually the defense that it's equipped on is going to have the additional damage against combiners. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of that because it's single defense. I think you could have done an area of defenses, done a little halo around it or something like that. But we also, since the time that we stopped looking at, since we stopped looking at HQ18 to try to get the endurance bot ready, honestly, we hadn't talked about it that much. So I wanted to get some test wars running, but I do like the Nexus Prime core overall in this concept. I just think we could have got a little tiny bit more out of it, but we also you know, um, didn't get to talk about it that much. I felt like with the HQ18 Phase 3 stuff, it could have been a little bit more conversation, a little bit more guidance on what it was that we were trying to look at. Um, it is what it is. So that's what's going to be in the game. Solus did get a rework a little bit, so they bumped it up so that you can get up to 39% damage. Oh, I bumped out of there by accident. And then Onyx is going to be useful if you're below 40% health, just like it is on offense. The key thing there is you can actually use, if you can. My thing with Onyx is once you have your rhythm for how you want to combo something to take out the Onyx Prime core, like you don't want to go hit it real hard the first time and with any attack and then get it below 40%. What you want to do is hit it with something that's either going to be damage over time or something that you know is not going to take it to 40% health, and then you sneak in there and deliver the final blow, kind of like that overkill blow, to make sure the Onyx doesn't work. So I was working on a couple of different combos with that. I actually bought Blast Off back into one of my teams just to demonstrate to somebody how easy it was to take out Onyx. But if you're just walking your team up, this can be a real pain in the ass. All right, King Grimlock says he loves the fifth outpost. Cicada says he doesn't like the direction that Solus went. Very disappointed about that. And they, I think it was you that put out some good ideas, Cicada, about what we could do. And as far as the turret, and I think we just kept sticking to that turret. Just it's gonna do some damage, and I was like, yeah, but it's not doing a lot of damage. So it's kind of like I'm probably not gonna use it. We'll see. We'll see what I pull when I start opening up my prime core shards. But yeah, we'll see what it is. Big Blade made a point that I was actually making. He was saying that the defensive nexus is going on minigun MDS. And I did that in testing, and it works really well. But one thing that I will say, especially for those who play in like Prime and Cybertron League, there are going to be some war effects that might make that unnecessary. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Hey yo, Michael Mancini, man, I ain't seen you in a minute, man. What's good? Um, he says, Freezy, we miss you. But yeah, man, miss you guys too, man. Like, I ain't in leadership no more, so I just kind of just be doing my thing, man. But like, yo, you can always come pop into the Discord, stuff like that, bro. And that's it. That's it. Most of the time, I missed all of the banter. All right, so this is what I wanted to talk about today, though. So, buildbot course, man, and it's getting frustrating. I actually made the comment in playtest yesterday. I hate that buildbots is the source of counters for everything. So I want to look at some things. So we got a couple of different ones. So we got the fireproof and antidote domes. I hadn't even tried them yet. I just got them right before I got on stream, and I had to, because I asked Dale for it because he was like, "Hey, is there anything that you need for your stream?" And I said, "Yeah, I need these two power cores, man. Like, we didn't get to test them in playtest, so." Fireproof dome. This is what it's going to do. It's actually an old concept that it's going to protect nearby buildings from 56% of fire damage, and area effects increased by 294. Buildbot is immune to all fire damage. So let's check out the range on it, and I think they pretty much did all of these the exact same or close to it. So that's your fireproof dome. Use that, you're gonna have reduced damage to fire everywhere, right? And so one of the playtesters came up and they said, why don't we just do all elemental dome? And I think that's a great idea because every time you add a new build bot core, you're diluting the counters because now I might not be using FFD. I'm gonna use this core. I might not be using not a lot of people using high frequency suppressor. You know what I'm saying? Now, people use lightning rod, but now they're starting to use one of them in the middle of their base. People aren't using zone heal as much as anymore. People use ray blockers, FFD, stuff like that. Um, the Russian warriors are still really strong. But then you got stuff like this. And then you got acid. And honestly, we could have used this like a year ago when acid was being used really heavy in the meta. But now you have like headstrong and pipes, and you know you still got like I still use acid storm and stuff like that, whose ability is technically fire. So I want to say I could still use him. I actually want to test that, but because he has that toxic element, does that go away but the damage still stays? Because that could be key for me in as this comes out. But it's ooh, yeah, this lost my game just crashed. But it makes me wonder if I can use that, and you're losing some of the effects, so the acid does the anti heal. And when I start seeing people losing anti heal, um, makes things a little bit tougher. I use Half Shell, who is Rope Buster for you guys on the Autobot side, so I won't be affected. But yeah. So Big Blade says the antidote is his favorite. Fire core is okay, but overpowered in the presence of Metroplex. So yeah, that's another thing we're going to talk about. So I'm probably going to run a separate video talking about that because I had that question, and because I didn't get this particular core until right before the stream. I'm not going to sit up there and try to talk intelligently about it. Like the first time I found out about this thing was during reading the newsletter. So man, it's tough. I don't like that. Oh, and Big Blade just realized that he got acid from Sandstorm. I know this thing didn't just crash in the middle of the stream, bro. Again, hard crash. And it already crashed once, man. What's going on? All right, man. I'm gonna try this one more time, G. Hit up this base trial. Oh man. All right. So base trial not working for me, so I might not be able to do that. All right. So clearly that's not gonna work. So I won't get to test that today, but I will try to get my stuff working again so that I can try to go check that out at a later time. I want to try to run that test with Acid Storm. All right, so I want to talk about the new combats that are coming out, and they're not finished yet. I do want to give that disclaimer, but let's talk about these new combats. So for us on the con side, we're gonna have well, it says Baru up there. Obviously, we already know who Baru is, but um, Barrow, and so it's gonna be a shield type combat. He's gonna block 20%. This is the 5-star version, by the way, maxed out. So the 5-star is gonna, when maxed out, is gonna block 20% of all damage every 10 seconds. Gain 25% extra health for 5 seconds. And I didn't like the 5 seconds part at first until I actually tried it. So we'll do that and some testing on that in a little bit. He's also going to launch 3 energy discs. And basically, if you think about it, it looks kind of like Gabu does. Um, Who was Gabu for Autobots? I can't remember right this second. So if you know, let me know. Yeah, I don't know who this dude is either, Big Blade. I was like, yeah, I. So apparently he was a Micron for one of the Seekers. I think it was Skywarp, and I'm not sure in which iteration of Transformers, but yeah, Barrow. But yeah, fuck it. Let's just take a look at it. I'm gonna unequip him, and I'm gonna put him on. Yeah, I did some research, Merc, and I honestly was looking forward to the stream just so I could ask you if you knew who this was in the lore. And bro, like I don't know who this dude is, but I said to myself, I was like, man, I'll get on stream. Terry will probably teach me how to pronounce his name correctly and shit like that. and and then you don't know either, so I was like, oh man. Um, the Autobot version, his name is I think it's pronounced Jaze. I want to say he's a Micron for Jazz, but I might be lying. Don't get me to lying. Yo, King Grimlock, like who this? Who y'all thought the same thing? I thought it was just me because I'm a G1 lore head, and well, I ain't gonna say I'm a lore head. I'm a G1 casual lore head, and I was just like, yo, who the fuck is this? So I was just like, so I thought I was the only one, and like I didn't want to get like shamed for it, so I didn't say shit. But I'm glad that nobody else knows who this motherfucker is too, because I was just like, damn. Now I will say this because Merc asked this question. I'm not sure if the artwork is completely done yet. They did tell us that there was going to be more artwork, and this is what we got so far. So I'm not sure if he's going to be blue. I'm not sure if he's blue in lore. I'm not sure about any of the stuff about this dude. But I do like what he does. Now, I will say, in my feedback about this thing, so this is, and I'm not gonna do nothing. So you can kind of see how he looks a little bit like how Bashbreaker. That's what I was trying to think of. Gabu and Bashbreaker have that they kind of had that whole acid little beam. So they did a cone type thing with that, but they made it much shorter. But just look at his health. Just look at his health as he just stands there and just keeps pounding on stuff. Now, two things. The first is I'm leery about adding a combat that's going to give a max health boost to a bot that can already do a max health boost for like all of our rush, or not all of, but most of our rush tanks. You know, like they do. You know, at 80% for their ability. I feel like that's gonna take a problem and make it worse because people are already like, oh man, Pipes is invincible. Pipes and Headstrong. Some people who like myself who use Bludgeon and Ironhide are gonna say something pretty similar. But it's been a minute, and he's just been getting wailed on a little bit, and that health is not going down. I think if you put that on a rush tank, and I haven't even used any abilities yet, I think that's gonna be huge. So we'll see how that goes. Now he's a little bit lower in health than, I mean, excuse me, the combat's a little bit lower in shielding than like who's the one that does the shielding? I'm gonna turn this off and I'm gonna go look at combats real quick because I want to say, man, like my brain is. I had a rough day. My brain is fried. Usually I got all this stuff together, and honestly, usually I wrote it down, but it just kind of came off the top of my brain. But when I go look at combats, I want to draw some comparisons real quick. And so when we look at combats, let's see. So it's got the projectiles. Granted, it a shorter version that of Gabu, but it also has a little bit of so like Gabu and Bash Breaker, but it's got a little bit of shielding. And let's look at it again because Double Cross is at 25%. This dude's at 20%, so you're getting less the blocking of the damage. Fangtron blocks 25%, so it's doing a little bit less blocking, but it's doing more in terms of you know how many abilities it has. It shoots some projectiles. It does 3 times% the bot DPS. With those energy discs, it's giving you a max health boost. So they made the blocking of the damage um, less. But I do like, and I was talking to some of my playtest buddies in a sidebar conversation yesterday, and they was like, it was weird to have blocking and max health boost, but that's like it's kind of not because it all revolves around survivability. So for my playstyle, I would actually use this. I would use this, and I would be comfortable in using this, knowing that I could do exactly what I was just doing. Now in a war situation, anything like that. Am I gonna do what I just did and just leave my tank just sitting there, knowing he's not gonna do much damage? No, but to know that I have the additional time, and to know that I can go use that, and I can go pair it with a core like the Onyx Prime core, like I was doing on Bludgeon. Oh, well, actually, I got Leech on them right now. But like, if I really got desperate, I could use the Onyx core and slow down the rate, bro. It'll be damn near impossible to kill this dude, bro. So yeah, so when you start looking at combats like Shieldren and Fangtron, we start looking at Double Crosser and you start looking at the combats like that. It kind of mixes a lot of the stuff in, but yeah, bro. Like I actually like this combat a lot. So we'll see how it turns out. We'll see if they're making any major changes to it, but that's what we're working with right now. So yeah, all right. And it sucks because they added it to and I'm gonna move on and talk about what we're potentially looking at for some war effects changes. So I'm gonna pull up what I got, um, what we started with, but I'm gonna tell you guys this, and I want to see how you feel about it. Let me know in the comments, and let me know in the chat how you feel about. So in Prime League, we're talking about we always do the additional health points and DPS. So 10 plus, we're looking at possibly plus 10. But then they're gonna have a bunch of MDS variants, and so we're gonna have one variant uh, that potentially could make Ruin Nation God Neptune and Magnaboss. So Ruin Nation God Neptune, Magnaboss, and Tripredicus do less damage. And since those are some of the ones that are used more frequently in wars offensively, so they talking about putting that on the plasma cannon. And I was like, man, that's kind of cool because plasma cannon isn't used that much. But man, like everybody's putting if people start using plasma and then God Neptune and Ruin Nation and Magnaboss and Tripredicus can't do as much damage, and I'm not sure what the percentage is going to be. We started off talking about 60%. That could be crazy. So, like I said, I don't want to show in the game. We're going to actually get all this stuff in. We're going to make changes to it and test and see what we can come up with. I don't like the timing, though. I don't like the timing of having HQ upgrades. Well, maybe this will be the gap because HQ upgrades could take some time. Now, some people are going to speed their way through them. I'm not. But so they were talking about making it so plasma cannon, MDS, makes it so Magnaboss and Tripredacus and God Neptune and Ruination don't do as much damage. Abilities, everything, just regular damage. Now, Laser Gun, they wanted to have buildbots do a shield. We've been through that before. It is challenging. Um, but like mostly everybody's using minigun and laser gun, so they're trying to go give something big to the plasma cannon, which I appreciate. But here's the kicker, and this is what was pissing a lot of people off already. So if they're looking at possibly doing minigun, giving 40% less damage to gunners, but making aerial class bots do 20% more damage. I actually like all of the MDS variants. I'm not gonna lie. Um, there were some concerns that I had with the percentages, which I addressed to Dale. He actually told me earlier before he right before he put it in playtest. But I do like the flexibility. I do like the I do like that it's gonna make you think. You're not just gonna take the same take the same 8 bots, take the same combiner and just hammer through stuff. You're gonna have to think a little bit if they do something like this. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen yet, but I am saying that this is what's being looked at. Um, and then hard mode, it's actually changed a couple of times. I'm not going to talk about hard mode yet. They were thinking about doing something where there's going to be additional HP and DPS per second, and it'll just stack. We're not sure where that's going to be at yet, but the biggest thing I think is that MDS stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But all right, guys, I think I am going to call it a night. Um, I'm going to try to get more details on all of the different content we covered today. Any potential changes, I'll probably try to make a couple of videos over the weekend, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's a lot to be excited about right now. There's a lot to be concerned about right now, too. So I'm going to keep on testing. I'll let you guys know what I find out. But I'll see you next week on the live stream, and I will also see you on the battlefield. Freezy is out.